Macarena is sent to prison after being sentenced to 7 years for fraud. Not wanting to worry her parents, she chooses not to tell them the truth. Instead, she lies, saying she is going on a sailing trip. Before entering prison, the guards confiscate all her belongings and conduct a full-body search. She is then led to the detention area, where other inmates mock and taunt her. At first, she is assigned to a cell with Zulema, the most feared inmate in the women's prison, and her minion, Saray. However, Zulema refuses to share her cell and gets into an argument with Officer Paloma. She is later reassigned to a different cell. The inmates joke about her the moment she steps in, but they seem friendlier than the previous group. Meanwhile, Officer Paloma heads to the locker room to pump breast milk for her babies. Suddenly, she receives a terrifying video of a masked intruder breaking into her home while her family sleeps. Zulema seems to have a lot of power in the prison, as she is able to leave her cell at night and secretly meet Paloma in the shared chapel. Meanwhile, Macarena starts bonding with her cellmates, Yolanda, Soledad, and Annabel. Especially Yolanda, who is kind to her and helps her cope with the fear of her first days in prison. Macarena still insists that she is innocent and will soon be proven so and released. Her cellmates laugh, explaining that everyone in prison believes that when they first arrive. Soledad is in prison for burning her husband, while Annabel was convicted for running a prostitution business with her mother. One day, Annabel offers to pull some strings to help Macarena get a new lawyer sooner than her scheduled date. Desperate, Macarena accepts the offer without considering the cost. One night, Macarena lies awake, thinking about how she ended up in prison. She had been an assistant and lover to her boss, Simone. Just as she is lost in thought, she is interrupted by Zulema, who appears at the cell door and calls Yolanda, asking her to go for a smoke. A short while later, two prison guards on patrol discover Yolanda's lifeless body sitting in a chair in the prison's basement. The prison staff is quickly informed of Yolanda's death. In the morning, Macarena and her cellmates realize Yolanda is missing. Macarena tells Soledad and Annabel that she saw Yolanda leave with Zulema the night before. When Annabel leaves to use the bathroom, Soledad warns Macarena to be careful about what she says and to whom. She also advises her to only accept favors if she is sure she can repay them in time. In the bathroom, Macarena witnesses Zulema forcing another inmate into prostitution and feels terrified for her own safety. While taking a shower, she talks to Rizos, who unexpectedly asks her out. Rizos explains that in prison, many women seek a partner even if they are straight, just to experience some form of affection and comfort. At lunch, Macarena asks Officer Fabio about Yolanda, and he tells her that she's dead. Just as Macarena is about to reveal what she saw the night before, Zulema suddenly appears and sits down in front of her. Macarena isn't the only one shaken by Yolanda's death. Soledad and Rizos are also visibly upset. Later, Soledad tells Macarena that in prison, there are only a few ways to die: suicide or murder. And in Yolanda's case, there were plenty of people who wanted her dead. Yolanda had ended up in prison after she and her boyfriend robbed a truck transporting 9 million euros and went on the run. The robbery led to a shootout, where Yolanda's boyfriend was killed on the spot, and the money mysteriously disappeared. Yolanda had hidden the cash somewhere no one, not even the police or investigators, could find. And before she was arrested, she swallowed the SIM card she had used during the escape. While working in the prison's greenhouse, Macarena accidentally discovers Yolanda's SIM card hidden in a plant pot. Meanwhile, Governor Miranda meets with Detective Castillo to investigate Yolanda's murder. Castillo believes she was killed by an inmate trying to force her into revealing the location of the missing 9 million euros. Before Macarena can process what she's found, she's called for a visitor. Panicked, she hides the SIM card back in the soil. Turns out, the visitor is the lawyer Annabel arranged for her. Unfortunately, the lawyer is useless and Macarena doesn't have enough money to make the bail of $2 million USD. She recalls how Simone once told her he planned to leave his wife for her but was afraid she would take control of his company in the divorce. Slowly, he manipulated Macarena into agreeing to take over the company's ownership in his place. Overwhelmed, Macarena rushes to the infirmary, where Dr. Sandoval gives her a sedative. However, the doctor seems shady, and it's clear he may be taking advantage of unconscious inmates. Meanwhile, the prison staff holds a meeting about Yolanda's murder. She had been steamed to death with scalding air, a clear sign of torture. Fabio questions how an inmate managed to leave their cell at night undetected. Suspiciously, all CCTV footage from that night has been erased. Back in her cell, Annabel reminds Macarena that it's time to repay her favor. She orders Macarena to smuggle drugs for her and hands her a keycard to the yard. When Macarena hesitates, Annabel threatens to tell Zulema that she saw Yolanda leaving with her that night. Terrified, Macarena has no choice but to comply. After Yolanda's murder, security is tightened. At lunchtime, the guards suddenly conduct random body searches. Macarena panics, knowing they might find the yard keycard in her pocket. Sensing her fear, Rizos quickly causes a scene, fighting with the guards to create a distraction. Seizing the opportunity, Macarena hides the keycard in a food tray. Soon a cafeteria worker finds the card and reports it to the guards. Fabio checks the dining hall security footage and realizes Macarena was the one who tried to ditch the evidence. Under pressure, Macarena finally calls her mother and confesses that she's in prison. Her mother insists they'll hire a better lawyer, but Macarena knows there's no escaping in this. Simone had made her embezzle €2 million from his company little by little, every single day. There was no way out. After that, Simone tells Macarena that he has arranged a good lawyer for her. However, in court, he betrays her, denying any romantic involvement and claiming that Macarena was just an obsessed employee. Heartbroken and realizing she has no choice but to pay off Annabelle, Macarena waits for recreation time to end and sneaks into the ball crate. Before she can make her next move, an unexpected prison inspection is announced. All inmates are ordered to line up outside their cells. Meanwhile, a drone delivers a small package of drugs for Macarena. She quickly grabs it and hides it inside her body before anyone notices. Thinking fast, she yanks off a piece of wire with all her strength and uses it to lock the basketball crate from the inside, making it look like someone else trapped her. She then starts screaming, pretending to be a helpless victim. A prison guard hears her and rushes to unlock the crate. On her way back to her cell, Macarena runs into Governor Miranda, who orders Paloma to search her. Paloma quickly finds the hidden drugs, and Macarena is sent to solitary confinement for 2 weeks. Alone in the dark cell, she feels hopeless until she notices an infinity symbol scratched on the wall, just like Yolanda's tattoo. Somehow, it gives her the strength to keep going. Maka starts hallucinating and imagines telling her mom about the prison. She would lie and say it's more or less like boarding school. To pass the time, she exercises a lot but accidentally breaks her arm. She is sent to the infirmary, where Dr. Sandoval bandages her. There, she runs into Tyr, a longtime junkie. Tyr is asked to provide a urine sample for a drug test. To cheat the test, she asks Maka to pee into the cup for her. Zulema already knows that Maka was awake and saw her take Yolanda out that night. She warns Maka to keep quiet, or else. Dr. Sandoval convinces Maka to take a sick leave and stay in the infirmary for a few days. However, he frequently touches her in ways that make her uncomfortable. Maka's parents come to visit her, but she's too nervous to face them. Before the visit, Fabio gives her some chocolate and tells her that if her parents see her eating it, they might think prison isn't so bad. Maka lies to her parents, assuring them that prison isn't too bad and that the inmates around her are nice people. However, when her mom hears the amount of bail money needed, she has a panic attack and rushes outside for fresh air. Her dad, on the other hand, sees right through her lies. He knows she's struggling but doesn't push her to admit it. He already slipped €500 under the table and tells her to pretend to tie her hair into a ponytail so she can discreetly take the money. During lunch, the other inmates gang up on Maka, taking turns spitting into her food and forcing her to eat it. She's on the verge of tears, about to give in, when Fabio steps in and stops them. At that moment, Maka realizes she's always been a pushover. That's why Simone was able to manipulate her, and why she ended up disappointing her family. Determined to change, she finally decides to stand up for herself. She goes to Governor Miranda and reports that she saw Yolanda leave with Zulema the night she was killed.